Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the summer sweep up is here. And this blog is jam packed with some insane stuff. There is some absolutely nutso bonkers things packed in here. Some of it super based, some of it I think Jagex might have dipped a little bit too hard into the Fent, and we're leaning into some weird territory. We've been hitting too much of the good crack, I think, later on in some of this stuff in the blog, but a lot of it is very good. I'm gonna get into it. I've got a lot to say here. I think I'm gonna make some separate videos more in depth going into some of the stuff I have problems with. Most likely, we'll see how concise and how much I can get my thoughts across here. But first and foremost, we're gonna read through all the changes. Um, I'll talk about the ones that I have issues with, or the ones that we have a lot to say as we go along. There will be timestamps, so feel free to scrub through, or if you don't really care to hear me yap ad length on Chambers drop table, for example, when we get to that point, feel free to, buffer through to the next bit. But I'll have it all marked out. We'll go through the entire list of the summer sweep up changes. But I appreciate you all for being here. My name is Tufak, or Josh. I have played this game way too gosh darn much. If you're wondering why I have so many opinions, where they come from, yeah, I've got over 10,000 or 15,000 hours in this game, probably across different accounts. We play way too much. I'm Grandmaster on my Iron Man. We are the rank 8 duo GIM team. I care a lot about the game. I love this game a lot. We play it a lot. I'm passionate. So if you're wondering where all this comes from, why I care so much, that's where it comes from. So let's get into it, boys. Summer Sweep Up 2026. What do they have for us? Right, gonna get right into it. We're too late for a spring cleaning, but just in time for a summer sweep up. Strap in, because we've got a lot to talk about. Everybody in the office is starting to complain about the heat in the UK, which can only mean one thing. It's time for another summer sweep up. For the uninitiated, the summer sweep up is a collection of changes aimed at improving quality of life, addressing long-standing pain points, and often introducing tough topics like rebalances to address long-standing main game issues. Primary goal of projects like this is to modernize parts of old school RuneScape that have fallen out of favor while staying true to our old school roots. They put this in brackets here, while staying true to our old school roots. They propose some wonky stuff here. I know it gets into hypotheticals later and like, what if? But there's some stuff in here that I think goes well beyond the old school roots, but we'll get into that. And future-proof various parts of the game to ensure they remain healthy in the long term, safeguarding key aspects of the game for years to come. Sweep up spawned following the success of Project Rebalance, which saw the introduction of elemental weaknesses alongside gear, defensive, stat, and skill rebalancing. All things that we built on for 2025 sweep up, alongside improvements to content like TOA, Sire, and adjustments to loot tables for a variety of resources. The last sweep up had a lot of interesting stuff, some controversial, some not so much, but yeah, it is a good thing we're doing, honestly. A very, very nice thing to have, just like a game health update once a year that is just primarily focused on like what's broken. Let's try and fix it. This year we are back with a whole host of more tweaks alongside a handful of topics we'd like to gauge your thoughts on before committing to a specific direction. We'll waste no more time and kick things off with the changes. We'll make at least a handful of you say, oh, that's a good change. They get into the experimental stuff later, so we'll start off not getting too crazy. Hunter improvements. Hunter is technically Old School's second most recent skill behind sailing, being added in November 2006. Despite that, this skill has its fair share of jank or clunky interactions that can make it a bit of a slog to train conventionally, particularly at the early levels. This is true that the addition of Hunter Rumors with Varlamore has improved it, outside of Chinchompas, but for many methods there are still changes that could be made to drastically improve the feel of them. Yeah, to put it bluntly, pretty much the entire early game of Hunter before 70 is cooked. Other than Rumors, it's pretty cooked. Yeah, but they're gonna get into it. We'll keep things concise with bullet points, but aim to expand where needed so that we're all on the same page and understand the aims of all key changes we're planning to make. Falconry. This is perhaps the most popular traditional hunter training method. Players midway through their progression, but players engaging with falconry might wonder why Matthias Falcon seemingly lacks all the speed and grace that these birds of prey are known for. Yeah, you kind of just like throw him like he's a net, like a crappy net, and he lands on their heads. This is true. Fortunately, all the GP that Matthias has taken from you has been put towards some birdsenal some birdsenal development. Okay. Meaning you can look forward to the following. You will no longer be held in place, so your movement's no longer going to be stalled when it's thrown at a kebbit, meaning you can run up to it as it's going to it. Beautiful. And you'll be able to ask your falcon to catch a kebbit even if your inventory is full. Excess resources will be discarded to avoid the clutter on the floor. Fantastic. It was just a dropping simulator before, and it was really clunky, kind of reminiscent of like old telegrab room in Mage Training Arena before they did any of the telegrab changes. Just felt really clunky, and there was a lot of standing still. Sucked. So, good changes. Aerial fishing. Despite its lack of popularity, aerial fishing is a reasonably efficient use of time. This is true for the min-maxers among you. We suspect the XP output is appealing to players, but that this activity is held back due to extremely high intensity with limited downtime, some clunky interactions, some excessive time to complete for its unique rewards. Here's what we'd like to do to make the most of aerial fishing. Increase the distance that you can perform quick catches, so like the one-tick ones. So that's fantastic. From a 3x3 to a 4x4 area. So you don't need to run around as much to do the quick catches. Not one tick or two tick, whatever it was. Add a toggle to Alry the Angler that allows your cormorant to eat fish in your inventory. Amazing. No more dropping. If you have enough of the bait, you can cut it up for the bait. But like if you have enough of the bait, no more dropping. Fantastic. Oh, wait a minute. That is not what I think it is. So the cormorant will eat fish in your inventory if you don't have the bait. So you can forego the cooking XP of cutting them for the bait, but it can just eat the fish out of your inventory. Makes it less click intensive. Yeah, this is true. Makes it less kind of cringe, but yeah, you lose it on the cooking XP. That's even better, I think. Interesting. I thought it would just like kind of delete the fish and instead of like making you drop all of them or cut all of them, but that is interesting. I think that's a good change, but I don't know how many people will interact with that to lose out on that free XP. Occasionally, a larger pool will spawn, and you can send your cormorant several times in a row, which adds a little downtime or periods of lower intensity to break up the rapid pace. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, little things like that, even just like, it makes it feel like more of a method with like a gameplay loop, honestly, where it's like you're running around all the small ones, wait for a big one to spawn, spam it for 30 seconds, run around all the small ones. It gives it more of like an identity, a feeling, like, it's nice. It gives it more personality, if that makes sense. I do like that a lot. Increase the rarity of mulch pearls, or the chance of obtaining them, by 50%. Fantastic. Yeah, time to complete on this stuff is egregious. And lowering the mulch pearl cost of some of the rewards. So the sack is now only 500, and the angler pieces are 50. So if you really don't want to do trawler, this is not going to be a horrendous option. Honestly, it's going to be a good, like, efficient use of your time XP-wise if you want to get your angler this way. Not terrible at all. I like that quite a bit. Okay, going further down to deadfall traps. Deadfall traps are generally associated with the earliest hunter levels, which have been more or less superseded by birdhouses for the better part of a decade. True, with maniacal monkeys being the notable exception for their relatively low intensity. Yeah, no one really does these, but a handful of people engage in like the AFK monkey hunter. We've got a handful of changes that should breathe new life into these dead fall traps. Increase deadfall trap limit to 2, that's twice as many. 200% increase in output on deadfall traps. Maniacal monkeys, however, since these are somewhat of a meta training method, will remain at the 1 trap limit. Croc would never double trap, so you'd blow your cover. Jokes aside, we don't believe maniacal monkeys need any extra help and already occupy a healthy space for doubling the number of traps, would give you way too much XP. Yeah, like I said, it's already a meta-ish training method if you want like AFK Hunter, so they don't really need to double the XP per hour of the off-meta AFK option for Hunter. Super reasonable. Give deadfall traps a chance to preserve your log when placing a trap, so you can cut down on cutting down trees. Hell yeah, preserve the environment. Make deadfall traps able to catch 8 ticks after being placed, as opposed to the current 15 ticks after being placed. I did not know that was a thing. That's egregious. So you place your trap, and it does nothing for 9 seconds currently. That's insane. They want about half that, so nice. Increase wild kebbit catch rate by 2.5x. These little critters are a bit of an outliers when it comes to catch rate. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so they just should have been fixed 10 years ago and just never have. Okay, so they're going to 2.5x the catch rate, and with your doubled traps, this is around a 4x increase in XP per hour for wild kebbits. Okay. And then lower the XP given by wild, barbed, prickly, and saber-tooth kebbits and power foxes by 20%. The other changes here still math out to 60% increased XP per hour. So yeah, just the higher tier stuff, they just tuned it down a little bit in terms of the XP they give, just because they don't want to make them too strong for lower level hunter methods. Awesome. Just make hunter less janky, really. Just make it less janky. Make it make more sense in terms of like we have all these options in the game of what to do, what to hunt, and we just never engage with any of it because why would you? So yeah, great that they're doing these. Other hunter changes: allow 2 traps to be placed starting at level 1 hunter. Fantastic. Gosh, 1 trap is so horrible. Make a ring of pursuit able to reveal full tracks even if one's already been started. Comment down below if you know what a ring of pursuit is. Help me out on this one. Improve drop rate and pity rate for butterfly and moth hunter rumors. So currently drop rate is 1 in 75 and they're moving it to 1 in 40, and the pity rate is 150 and they're moving it to 80. Yeah, those contracts, even though you catch butterflies really quickly, can be really cringe if you go to the pity rate on them. I experienced that for the first time on leagues, and that sucked. So nice, fantastic changes for the hunter section. I think overall I have 0 complaints. Genuinely incredible. Okay, so coming up next we have agility changes. Alrighty, and we see the sepulcher lobby. What are they doing here? What are they cooking up? As much as it will pain some of you, agility is here to stay. No, they're not removing it from the game. We've got some spicy sepulcher changes, some terrific changes to Varlamore Worm Course, and as is tradition, shortcuts. Hell yes. The first thing I see here, I've been saying this for ages, lower the entry level for sepulcher. There's no reason why level 4 is like barely better than, God, I don't even know. It's ridiculous. Level 4 is just so much effort for like barely getting rewarded, and like you get it at 82, and then you got to do that for 10 levels if you want your BIS XP per hour all the way to 92. And like the most fun part is the last floor. It's so criminal. I'm sorry. So lower floor 4 entry requirement to 77, down from 82, 5 levels, and same thing for level 5, and allow players to boost for floor entry. So you could summer pie to enter the floor, and then you're good to go. If your boost ticks down, it doesn't matter, you're already on the floor. They're not going to kick you out because your level dropped. And then adjust floor 5's Grand Coffin so that it requires 84 thieving or 92 agility to open. so that if you're pie boosting, there's still a thieving level requirement for you to open the chest. That's freaking awesome. Ultimately, the aim here is to reduce the time spent running the comfortable floors ad nauseum. Incredible. 72 to 82 agility stands out for many as a bit of a slog, since floor 3 gets to be quite mundane after a little while. These changes are aimed at getting players moving through floors more quickly and putting themselves to the test against the more challenging obstacles early. A perfect excuse for you to burn through your stack of summer pies, and a perfect excuse for you to get less bad at pathing. Let's go. On the other end of the intensity spectrum is the Colossal Worm course, nestled into Varlamore's Sunset Coast. This was initially billed as a more low-intensity alternative to rooftops for reduced XP output, but it's more or less the same amount of effort. Yeah, it's just a reskinned rooftop course. This is reskinned rooftops. And no one really goes to it after they get the clogs, is what they're saying here. So they're going to increase the duration of the Colossal Worm Agility course by 20 to 35%. Increase the XP and termites to match, so that it's the same XP per hour and termites per hour, but fewer inputs per hour. So basically, they're going to extend the length of the obstacles, extend the length of the time it takes to do them, but they're not going to be adding a bunch of obstacles. So, like, they're lengthening the course, but it's going to be fewer obstacles total. So it's, like, less clicks per, amount of time that you're doing it. But overall, it's still going to be, about the same XP per hour, it looks like. So that's good. It will no longer be reskinned rooftops. It will sit as, like, an alternative side option for agility for, like, for example, if we just want to throw out a random number, how many obstacles is Sears course? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's one of, like, the quicker courses. So, like, that's a 6 agility. It's 6 or 7. So, like, imagine a course that's, like, 4 obstacles, but it takes your character, I don't know, 50 and 20 seconds to navigate each obstacle. It's less active per hour. It might be a thing people enjoy over rooftops. I know I personally hate rooftops. I treat them as, like, a more AFK thing, but then I end up paying so little attention that my character is just kind of, like, standing at every obstacle for 15 seconds. So rooftops just don't work out for me as, like, a low intensity thing, because I just pay too little attention. So hopefully this kind of fills in the gap for people kind of like that they want to do those lap kind of courses, but, rooftops just not their thing. I like it. Shortcuts, let's see. We're not wasting any time, and neither will I. What are the shortcuts? Level 49, west of Draenor Manor, small gap in the fence. Okay. Might be clue related, clue, or, like, that farming patch for, like, people who do the max pet farm run. I'm not sure what that one's for. Southwest of Giant's Plateau, allowing easy access to and from the desert. Okay, interesting. Southern edge of Edgeville Dungeon, cutting down on travel time if you've lost your brass key at level 60. Interesting. Central area of the top floor of Arceus Library, allowing you to jump down to the bottom floor. Watch your ankles. Okay, level 62 agility would speed up the XP per hour and of the book RC, library RC method. Interesting. North of Sophonem, a slippery stepping stone for those of you who need to cross the River Elid in a flash. Nice. Desert ones are always nice. The desert is weird in terms of, like, what gets cut off by what and what you need to walk around, so that's very nice. The small island north of Mostly Harmless. Oh, thank the Lord. Oh, thank the heavens above. You no longer need the Witchwood icon and a light source and to run for 45 years to do that clue step. Thank gosh. And west of Polnibnich at 83, allowing quick access from Ali the Hag's hut to the nearby plateau. Let me know down below if anyone knows what that one's for. I do not. New shortcuts are all and well good, but we'd also like to take a look at some of the most frustrating out there grapple shortcuts. Okay. So they'd like to allow some grapple shortcuts to be over leveled and be completed without any gear at all. Okay, fantastic. So level 8 grapple at the River Lum, barehanded at level 48. Level 11 grapple at Falador, barehanded at 52. Level 3 grapple, barehanded at 68, between Catherby and Taverley. They'd also like to make this a two-way shortcut. Nice. Level 36 grapple by the Water Obelisk, barehanded at 72. Level 39 grapple at the Yannel Wall Climb, barehanded at 69, with the achievement diary still requiring you to make a grapple to complete the step. Makes sense. They just don't want to remove the smithing requirement there for irons. And then level 53, Strong Trees just south of the Karamja Volcano, barehanded at 78. Awesome. What about, like, God Wars? God, what about Kree? No? No Kriara barehanded? Alright, guys. Whatever. Yeah, that's where we draw the line. It's always fucking God Wars KC, and I guess the grapple at Kriara is too much. What is their issue with God Wars, bro? Genuinely, what is their issue with God Wars? Come on. Traversing Gielinor gets better with every sweep up. Here's hoping that more agility, variety comes in beyond level 70 will be less pain. I had a stroke reading that. Laugh at me if you want. Other skilling related changes. These are some smaller ones that aren't like major like skill overhauls or aren't big enough to have an entire category. So first one, Guardians of the Rift. RC's premier minigame has been a fan favorite since its release, but its reward structure and offering has been left a little to be desired. Having borderline mandatory skilling upgrades gated behind RNG with high variance can sour the enjoyment of activities like Guardians of the Rift. Facts. If you did not watch my dry protection video, I gave a huge ramble about dry protection and how it's not great. However, there's a big caveat. Almost every untradeable. Oh my goodness. Be kind to people who play this game. Don't make them go dry on their Toa gems. Don't make them go dry on their fish barrels. Don't make them go dry on their needles. Don't make them go dry on their lanterns. Don't make them go dry on anything that is a massive quality of life thing for the skill or the minigame. Give some kind of kindness in terms of those items. I don't know why that is a thing. I don't know why they insist on doing that and having it so inconsistent across the skills. Some of them are very nice and they hand them to you. Some of them are just ruthless, and if you go dry on them, sucks to be you. You just have an unfun time knowing that other people have those items and are enjoying them. They have one big rune pouch, or they have two entire inventories full of fish that they can carry, and you don't, and that sucks. So yes, add dry protection to all of these untradables. Yes. Allow people to purchase the needle for 750 pearls. Yes! Meaning there is a deterministic option for players going dry. Yes! Allow the Abyssal Lantern to function outside of Guardians of the Rift. Hold on, if it's burning logs, that provides some effect beyond the activity. This means normal oak, maple, and yew won't have any function outside of Rift, but willow, blisterwood, magic, and redwood will. That's disgusting. Players will get access to never having to repair their pouches before 99 RC. That's awesome! And if you have a 99 RC, you get to wear your max cape and get the bonus runes of the other lantern? Frick yeah! Allow the Guardian's Eye unlock to permanent metamorphose on the Rift Guardian rather than taking up space in your bank whenever you want to switch up your companion's appearance. It does that? You get the big pearl back from the guy when you need to transmog it off? That's so silly. Okay, cool. Tempera, similar vein above. Allow the players to purchase the fish barrel and the tackle box. Let's go. Let's go. Perfect. I don't need to repeat everything I just said, but yeah, lock in. I have all these things. I'm just popping off for you guys. I went dry on the lantern. It sucked. I went dry I went kind of dry on the fish barrel. It sucked because I was like going for it, and then I ended up not using it like ever because I don't know. I did barb fishing for the most part, but either way, you guys shouldn't have to go dry on these things. There's no reason. There's no like logical gameplay reason that there shouldn't be an alternative to, just getting lucky if you're unlucky on these minor skilling quality of life things. So yeah, lock in. Okay, coral. Honestly, there's a whole lot about coral farming. Um, they're talking about EHP here. Um, they're I are they talking about farming EHP? Um, okay, they go really in depth on coral farming. Coral is the stuff from sailing used to make some of the new potions. Honestly, like I'm not gonna read all of these coral changes. More or less, they want to buff the XP and the yield of coral, but they're like, guys, we're scared of farming EHP, which is like efficient hours played, which is like efficient XP rates per hour, like how much XP you should be gaining. They kind of base new methods and stuff off of like what current EHPs are, and they're always kind of careful about operating around these things. I know most of you don't care. Um, this is a lot to say that like we want to buff this a lot. Some people are going to be a little bit afraid, and they're kind of saying we don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but like we'll let you guys kind of be the judge. It's coral though. Is coral. Who cares? Other tweaks. Rounding off the skilling changes, there are a small group of tweaks that don't fit neatly into any broader category. Remove the make X interface when you use a log onto an existing bonfire. Instead, it just uses the logs. Oh my gosh. Incredible. They didn't need to do that, but awesome. So it just takes away one click from the AFK fire making procedure once you have a forester's bonfire. Sick. Remove the herb lore level requirement on the reagent pouch. Sure, didn't even know there was one. Improve shark lures, so they increase the rate at which you fish from 5 ticks to 4 ticks per roll, effectively a 20% increase in the speed at which you catch sharks. Shark lures were already decent, I think. So, okay, that's pretty good. Buff the elite clue rate from heroes by 25% from 1 in 1400 to 1 in 1050. Are those clues are not doubled by the rogue outfit, so that'd be kind of broken. I don't know why I randomly thought about if that was a thing. It's hella not. But I don't know if anyone will ever thieve these for an elite clue, but like I only found out that these drop elite clues on leagues, and it took me like an hour to get one of these for the task. So like, yeah, they should have done this. I bless you in the comments. They should have done this like a month ago for me on leagues. Gosh darn. Alrighty. And now for the big stuff, the juicy stuff. PVM changes. Starting off strong with the Gauntlet and the Corrupted Gauntlet changes. I'm going to give like my overall philosophy here before we get super into it. And I hope you guys can come to agree with me. Prep is not a fun gameplay loop. There are some aspects that can be fun about like maybe some of the speedrun CAs trying to go fast, the little tech you can do. Prep as it is, not fun. Repeating it several hundred times sucks. Hunliff? Fun gameplay loop. Enjoyable. I like Hunliff. Hunliff fun. Getting to like pick your weapons, put them together, it's like you don't really have much choice. You range, mage, melee, but fun. Prep? Not fun. Any way that we can streamline and improve the prep, take away a few of the pain points, make it a little bit less annoying, speed it up a little bit, speed it up, speed up the prep, speed up the prep. It's fine. It will reduce the hours of the grind to get a BOFA. That's fine. Speed up the prep. Prep sucks. Speed it up. Do some of these things. No one should be afraid of that. No one should be worried. No one should be against that. That is awesome. Prep sucks. No one enjoys prep. No one's liking prep. If a gameplay loop sucks, try to fix it a little bit. I hope that philosophy is, mirrored in some of these changes. Some of them got spoiled on stream. It is. But let's get into them. So this one's already generated a lot of conversation. Yep, Reddit is absolutely insane, but let's see what they're actually aiming to do. Changes aimed at reducing prep phase variance / intensity. Guaranteed a random demi-boss spawn at the northeast, south, and westmost rooms. So on all the cardinal directions, that's where you have mini-bosses. Meaning 4 demi-bosses with fixed locations. There will still be, I believe, there's 6 in every gauntlet. So they will be on like the random fill-in rooms otherwise, but there will always be 4 and you would know exactly where they are. Amazing. While we're talking demi-bosses, we'd also like to reduce their maximum attack range from 16 to 10. Thank you. You won't get sniped down the hallway by them. Fantastic. And a guaranteed weapon frame from your low list, or your low tier NPC kills. Fantastic. No, these changes are all beautiful. Just reduce some of the RNG in prep. Nice. Changes aimed at decluttering or simplifying prep. Make all of the things stackable, the bark, ore, and the wool. Amazing. You have to do 2 trips typically when you're doing your initial prep to like get some of your fish, some of your supplies for your other stuff. You drop some stuff on the floor if you don't have enough shards to make your armor. No longer a thing. Fantastic. Get that out of here. Stackable. Automatically place crystal shards in your inventory. Yes. You don't need to feel like you're, losing time when you cheekily kill a minion with a staff that you made because you have to now run 9 tiles to pick up the shards. Yes, fantastic. And reduce the variance in number of shards dropped by enemies. Awesome. Make that more consistent. Standardize the stats of the regular enemies within tiers so it's not better to kill a wolf over a scorpion. Why was that ever a thing? Who knows? Simplify the number of crystal shards used to create various pieces of equipment so that you're not reliant on remembering odd numbers or over-reliant on a plugin to keep track. They said you're too stupid to add 60 together 3 times. So we're going to make it 50. You're too stupid. We're going to make these numbers rounder so that you stupids don't have to use a plugin. Nice. They're looking out for you bad at math, fellas. I like it. I'm not going to read all of the changes in price in crystal shards, but overall, full armor set, a full set of tier 1 armor and 2 tier 3 weapons is only down 30 shards. A full set of tier 2 armor and 2 tier 3 weapons is down 10 shards. And the full set of tier 3 and 2 tier 3 weapons is down 50 shards. So only small changes, and they're just making it like better, more round numbers. For all of you people bad at math, straight up. They're like, you know what? Round numbers. And by round numbers, I mean ones that end it on 100 or a 50, because 60 and 80 were just way too hard to remember, I guess. Okay, I don't know. The reducing it by 10 makes I don't know. It just really does feel like a change for that you don't have to remember a specific number. It's like, yeah, 250 easier to remember, 450 easier to remember. All right, dude. The rest of the changes are fantastic though. Prevent weapon frames from dropping if you have a total of 3 weapon frames or crafted weapons. Nice. You won't accidentally fill up your inventory with weapon frames. Basically, they say these changes should make prep feel more reliable, making the quantities of things easier to remember, and probably speed things up for players of all skill levels, so you can spend more time focusing on the Hunla fight. Fantastic. Make the boring part of the gameplay loop easier, more streamlined. You'll save a little bit of time for sure. This will be a handy time save, like a very much felt time save. I think especially if you're doing tier 1 preps, you can just make a weapon and then do 1 trip and get everything and then come back, just because you can stack all the stuff. Like, it's going to be massive in terms of the speed for Gauntlet, and just get you back into the boss, doing the fun part, doing the part of the grind that doesn't suck, that's enjoyable, that is fighting a boss. What we'd like to do in the game. Not like, open up 400 rooms looking for one piece of wool, not finding it until you get to the last room in the corner, and then you smash your keyboard and leave. That's not fun. But the boss is fun, so yeah, just get us to the boss quicker. Incredible. Other PVM or PVM adjacent changes. What does this mean? Gauntlet's the headline for this section. Some miscellaneous stuff. Add a minimum number of players' attacks before the Phantom Muspa can change styles. To prevent constant back-to-back swaps, which make the fight frustrating in high-tier gear setups. This is just going to make the boss gross for max setups. I ain't gonna lie. Usually you hit Muspa big 2 times and then it changes. If it then has to just sit there taking it without me switching or doing anything, boss is just way more chill, way less annoying, way less switching back and forth, and it's just gonna die, man. That boss is just straight gonna die. Hell yeah. Sure. I don't know why, but sure. I hate Muspa personally. I just don't enjoy it. I think Smite Phase is one of the worst things they've ever designed into a boss in terms of just like pure halting your momentum and enjoyment of something. So like I don't do that much Muspa, but this seems gross, man. As a T-Bow, Max Mage Shadow, ZCB, Billy on my iron. Oh my god, I'm gonna be blowing this guy up. Add a minimum number of player attacks before demonic gorillas can change overheads. These two? You can change a demonic gorilla's overhead in like a single hit with an Emberlight on task. Am I just gonna be able to just like chop him like 210 damage in melee before he switches his prayers? Gorillas are going to be fast, even in a mid setup. Like, genuinely, even in a mid setup, that is going to be felt. Like a Scobo, Emberlight, and like not even in max, like that is going to be felt. On Gorillas is crazy. Lower the duration of Phantom Muspa's homing spikes attack so it ends a little sooner. Praise be to the heavens. Show me removed, deleted Smite Phase. Show me deleted Smite Phase. Give me another change for another boss, and then show me deleted Smite Phase. Come on. Come on. Add a cooldown before Scotizo's totem can be spawned again? Hell yeah, that guy's a jerk with those. Reduce the size of Scotizo's arena? Incredible! So you don't need to run 400 years in between every totem? Amazing! Reduce Chivalry's drain rate so that it matches the prayers from the giants. Incredible. There is no follow-up sentence. Good, there shouldn't be. That should be unpolled. Prevent the Surge Potion's cooldown from being reset on death inside the Chambers of Xeric, since it introduces feels bad meta for speedrunners. Good. Prevent progression in the Unite waves from being reset if you leave via the door. Maybe this will open the door for weird restricted accounts that couldn't kill those knights otherwise to be able to complete it. I don't know how or why or what that would look like, but maybe. But who cares about the Knights Wave training fights to unlock Chivalry and Piety? I don't know why that is the bookender of these. Interesting. Okay, before signing off on this session... Okay. This is where we get into some Mickey Mouse stuff, and I'm gonna need you all to buckle in. I'm gonna need you all to like fasten your seatbelts, because I'm gonna give some strong opinions on a handful of things they say here. Not all of it's bad, don't get me wrong. Not all of it's bad. A lot of it's cool. A lot of it's like down the right ideas or down the right lines of like what makes sense for the game in my eyes. But some of the stuff is weird and scary, and we'll get into it. So alrighty. Our thoughts on Chambers, CMs, and prayer scrolls. Let's get started. scrolling down here. For many of you, this is a topic that needs no introduction, but we will set the scene to make sure everybody's up to speed here. CoX unique table is weighted heavily towards the scrolls, meaning roughly 58 of uniques that you'll see will be a prayer scroll. CMs added the twisted kits and the dust, but they didn't change the table at all, so that is true for CMs as well. Tob's hard mode has shifted purple rates. Avernic is reduced, meaning it's more common to see all of the other uniques. The weighting of prayer scrolls applying to CM and CoX have been a frequent topic of discussion for some time now. Many players suggesting that we should reduce the weightings or remove the scrolls entirely from the CM loot table, in line with how hard mode handles the Avernic. The suggestion is simple enough and absolutely has some merit, but we've hesitated to make a simple change since we think the problem is a little more complicated. Alrighty, so we'll go through some of the simpler approaches we've seen and some brief points on each first. Approach 1. Reduce prayer scroll weight slightly, do nothing else. Closely mirrors hard mode Tob, puts downward pressure on every unique in the loot table. Downward pressure means that supply is increased and value likely drops as a result. Prayer scroll weighting is so high that you'd likely still see them very frequently unless we reduce the weighting drastically, which would result in very significant increases for other uniques. Some items can't really absorb this downward pressure and still maintain a healthy value, namely the Twisted Buckler and the Bulwark, but also the DHCB and Claws to a lesser extent. Okay. I'm not going to get too much into each individual thing they said. I'll give my personal stuff at the end. Approach 2. Reduce prayer scroll weighting. Reduce purple chance. All of the above still applies. Many people feel that purples are already too rare at chambers. Making them more rare would suck. Yeah. Approach 3. Increase purple chance. Still puts downward pressure on everything. Still results in mostly seeing prayer scrolls. Purples are more frequently seen, which probably doesn't make the raid feel better for many players. Interesting, but okay. Unique prices are delicate, and CoX uniques have historically done a pretty good job at maintaining value, considering the raid's lifespan. So we're quite cautious about any solution that might result in a drastic increase for these. Instead, we'd like to float an idea that tackles the problem from a slightly different angle. What if the scrolls themselves had some sort of added value to apply upward pressure? Here we go. Here's an idea we've been toying with. What if you could re-roll a unique? Hypothetical scenario, player obtains an arcane. Player can withdraw the scroll or re-roll it. Re-roll provides a 1 in X chance to roll in the unique table again, but with the arcane scroll removed from the table, increasing all unique weightings. If the 1 in X chance is missed, the arcane prayer scroll is deleted. Effectively, this creates upward pressure on every item whose value is less than the average reroll value, meaning items like prayer scrolls, Din's bulwarks, and buckler likely increase in value. There's some downwards pressure created on other uniques, but to not such a degree that it's likely to be overly detrimental. This means that mains could effectively try their luck at getting something better, and irons who have a healthy death coffer could re-roll any duplicate items. Cloggers could re-roll absolutely everything, and it's a change that in theory could apply to both CMs and normal CoX if we wanted. The additional benefit of an approach like this is we can justify being more generous with this system than we could with simpler buffs and number changes, since there's a trade-off involved. Alright. I'm not even going to read their last paragraph. Yeah, I will. I'm sorry. From a system design perspective, something like this achieves a lot, but it's understandably a bit weird. We know this sacrifice style option can be very hit or miss for players, so we'd like to gauge your thoughts on our outlandish idea and see how it stacks up against the approaches outlined above. Okay. How do we open this can of worms? Entering the territory of getting an item from a raid in an MMO and just being able to hit the dice roll button to have it turn into something else. I hate to be that guy, but we're starting to enter Mickey Mouse fantasy private server just fiction land. Like, we're starting to enter territories of like, what are we talking about? Like, we want to maintain the old school of it all. We want to maintain the feeling that content has. We just want to clean up some things. But like, we want to take the oldest raid in the game, the first raid in the game that has drop rate issues, that has drop table issues, that has these issues, and they want to throw out all of the other options as just, no, we can't do them because it'll make the items too cheap. And then Omega Glaze, 5 paragraphs, big bang boom, thought out idea of like, you can re-roll your purple if you don't like it. And like, I've played Iron Man for the past almost 10 years. I love the game mode. It's so much fun. What are we talking about here, guys? What are we talking about? I'm going to point out a few things, just off the bat, that exist in the game that Jagex can use to control the prices of items, okay? Firstly, GE tax. You can just delete items from the game in GE tax. If you're going to be, like, creating an issue with these items where you're going to be artificially reducing the value because you're changing them, GE tax them more. Do something on your end to fight for that value if that's something that's important. Because it's fake coins in a fake economy. So, like, GE tax them more. You've skewed the numbers and you've put items into GE tax and taken them out before. GE tax them more. If you're going to make this integrity change to Chambers drop table, do that. Secondly, okay, drop tables. We don't want to increase purple chances. Chambers got the biggest increase in purple chance that any raid has ever gotten with the last project rebalance. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Anyone, not even in the high level community, but in like the mid to like Inferno Cape level gamers, like not even that high tier, you guys are all aware of how egregiously powerful scaled chambers are. How much purples can print in 3+12s, 2+13s, 2+16s, and these aren't even like the 2+98 billion. These aren't even like sweaty, stinky, disgusting nerd raids. These are like the 2+13s and 2+16s are like have a singular alt that you can use to stack up shamans and mystics. And then 3+12s, you don't even need an alt. You just need 2 people who aren't terrible at the game. And you can run 3+12s. Purples can be printed, like printed at Chambers. And they have been for years. Some of these items are in the dumps, like, partially because of this. So it's like, items are already being spawned in, spammed in. So it's like, we're not that concerned about the health of Chambers items. We dropped the ability to scale your raid by just hitting a button instead of having to have a billion alts or a billion people to scale the raid for you or having to find, you know what I mean? Like, we removed so much of the barrier to, like, being able to access this egregious amount of purple printing. And, like, they're still up here immediately putting off the idea of any of these things because it puts downward pressure on all of the other items on the drop table. So instead of, like, either, here's my thought, like, shift the weighting down of scrolls bump purple chance at the low end in solo raids, solo CMs, like unscaled, like up to like 5, 6, like bump the purple chances in those kind of raids, and then don't touch it beyond certain numbers because it already gets insane. You can do criminal things with the amount of points you can get in chambers. So like bump up the points at the lower end for people, for the people getting into it. Get them like an earlier access to like getting purples, getting their first items. Reduce the weightings of scrolls such that like you can increase the drop rate but have a dex effectively be the same amount of hours grind. Like if a dex is a 1 in 5, just throwing it a random number. If a dex is a 1 in 5 per purple and a purple is 1 in 10, you know what I mean? You'd get a dex every 50 raids. If now they're going to make a purple 1 in 5 but reduce like the chance of getting a dex to 1 in 10, it's still 50 raids to get your dex, but you're going to be seeing a bunch of other purples in that mix more so than you were. So like if drop rates are increased, that's a good thing. Drop rates at chambers are criminally freaking bad. A deathless solo is a 1 in 32 or like 1 in 30-ish roughly depending on the layout. Disgusting. Absolutely terrible. A solo CM is like what? A 1 in 15 almost? Disgusting. Terrible. Buff that shit. It's been so bad for so long, and they have GE tax. They have agency. They can mess with these things. The value of the T-bow ain't going nowhere. That thing's freaking busted. The value of ancestral is gonna be decent pretty much no matter what. It's disgusting. Some items are gonna hold value. Some items have been shafted for ages. Prayer scrolls have been shafted for ages. So it's like, how about we focus a little bit less on the potential downward pressure on some of these other items and focus on the downward pressure that's been applied to them over the past freaking 10 years almost by scrolls being 80% of the fucking purples that we're getting. You know what I mean? Scrolls could be worth something if they're a little bit rare. There are more purples that are worth something. Like, you know what I mean? There's ways to handle this other than implementing this Mickey Mouse system of getting to sacrifice and re-roll your purples that to me is uber catered to Iron Men. These cry babies. They can't just nut up and do the raid. Guys, I can do an hour-long Chambers of Zarek. That is a 44% chance for a purple with 2 people in the raid. That's 22% personal purple chance in about an hour and 5 minutes. That's what's possible. You don't need a T-bow to do that. I'm just putting it out there, like, the people who are, like, so yearning for something like this, grow up, please. You picked the harder game mode for a reason. If you're dry on one of the best items in the game, you don't need it handed to you. And I promise it won't feel better when it's handed to you on a silver platter, because you can re-roll your decks and take, you know, I don't even know. This just seems insane. I might be overreacting, but this idea, throwing this out, to me is like, what? Why not explore some of this stuff further before you just do the majority of the stuff you have to say is about a hypothetical what if we can re-roll the loot? Magical, you get an arcane, boom, it's a T-bow now. What are we cooking here? What were we smoking when we thought about raid re-rolls? It just feels really silly to me. It feels really private servery to me. They have things that they can do to fight the one downside that they've said to like the other options is like downward pressure on these items. Like they have ways to fight this, so it's like Why do we gotta jump to just some Mickey Mouse Clubhouse fantasy raid re-rolling nonsense? You know what I mean? It's weird to me. But that's my piece. We will move on to the next one. Gear changes and rebalancing. Okay. Sanguinesti staff. They say these are only minor tweaks. They're not. Sang staff. When Sangstaff was introduced, they were terrified of power creep. Sangstaff currently is 1 max hit higher than the Toxic Trident, which was the previous best in slot when it came out. It's 1 max hit higher and 0 accuracy higher, and just has the passive heal. So they want to increase the heal chance to a 1 in 5 from a 1 in 6, and make it deal 8 additional damage whenever the heal procs. Notably, they said deal 8 additional damage, not have 8 higher max hits. So that's just plus 8 damage when you proc a heal, and that's adding 8. So you're never going to heal on a 2 anymore. If you hit a 2, you'll heal on a 10. So this is making Sang a lot better in terms of like healing you and consistency in healing you. That is disgusting, because the heal is based off the damage you deal. That is fantastic. And the plus 8 averages out to plus 1.6 damage per hit, which is confirming again that is 8 flat damage added. And the base max hit increased by 1, amazing. And the rune cost down to 2 from 3. Sang is more expensive to use than a scythe. Not anymore after this though. Fantastic. SRA changes, increasing strength bonus by 4. Stacks to provide 10% damage per stack, up from 6. Stacks cap at 3, down from 5. Okay. Amazing. They make it less of a skill issue axe. That's like literally what they're doing here. They're making it less of the skill issue axe. Takes less time to ramp up damage. It works out to be the same damage once you have max stacks, but you'll have higher HP notably. It will be less reliant on Blood Fury. You can work around the 3 stacks of HP loss a lot easier than you could work around 5 stacks of HP loss. And you get an extra max hit on top of it with the 4 strength bonus. Fantastic. It's less the skill issue axe for all of you people who aren't, you know, amazing at the game using a Soul Reaper axe. It's freaking hard to use. Like, we can be honest here. It's hard to use. It's hard to Tob with that thing if you're not, like, amazing at Tob. Or, like, if you're not... Oh, it's hard to use it at Tob if you're learning, I should say. So, like, they're making it less of the skill issue axe. I like that. Grazi Rapier and Blade of Saildor both getting buffed by 6 strength bonus. Both getting buffed by 6 accuracy and 4 strength bonus, which is just again a guaranteed max hit max hit in all setups, and 6 more accuracy. Beautiful. I'm assuming they're doing the same to the mace. Pegasian boots 1 range strength. My boy Pegs finally. Why at this point? But sure, yeah, they should. Master Wand, 10% magic damage bonus. That's insane. That's insane. It should be 5%. That is insane for like a 2-day grind that you can just get your 10% staff for free. All Ancient Scepters up to 10% from 5. What's the point? Why not slot in the Master Wand at 5 and then buff these to 10? What's the point of these then? You just can get a Master Wand for free. It's like... And then you eventually need it for Kodai for your Abyss anyway if you're on an Iron Man. Like, what's the point? This should be 5%. That's crazy. Aquanite Hopper to have its 2nd hit accuracy penalty halved. There's not room to buff this loads without power creeping on the buckler, but a small buff should make it at least more worthwhile. Yeah, like, they don't need to make it better than the buckler, but, like, make it like, decent if you don't have a buckler. Like, yeah, sure. Give it a little bit of a buff. And then Belly's Folly drop rate increased to 1 in 75, up from 1 in 256. Yeah, this thing was just, like, not worth it to even try to go get ever, unless you just kind of, like, wanted to. This thing was just super not worth it at any point in progression logically, like in terms of time and effort to like go unlock it and get it compared to every other option. So like, yeah, this was a needed change. They nuked the drop rate of this thing. 1 in 75 for it now. Amazing. Venator to be made more consistent thanks to new engine capabilities. It's hard to quantify this, even they don't know how Venator works, but in effect it should mean that the bow finds new targets more reliably. I was saying about this earlier on stream, they just have to be careful that they don't change how it works with mobs of certain sizes. If it starts to work on things that are too big, we might start see Venator going absolute crazy style in the Inferno, and I don't think that's what they're going for here. I think they're just trying to clean up how it works. So hopefully they don't like change anything too wild in the back end, and then we end up getting crazy Inferno Venator stacks with the massive mobs. But I doubt that they would do that. And Inquisitor changes. Thank the Lord, thank the heavens. Let's see what they are. Remove the set bonus. Remove the set bonus. Okay. Allow all pieces and the mace to function better independently rather than locking their utility to the complete set. Yes, great. Will be less painful when you're using a Slayer Helm. All that good stuff. Mace gains 5 strength bonus and 7 crush accuracy. This guarantees 1 max hit in all setups and maybe 2 in some setups. Notably better, putting it a slot above all of the other weapons in the same tier, the other one-handed melee weapons, which, like, Mace is uniquely a lot rarer, a lot cooler, a lot more awesome. So yeah, give it 1 extra strength bonus. Hell yeah, Mace. And it's a lot more expensive. And it gets 7 crush accuracy as well. Great Helm gains a 2 accuracy penalty. What? Jesus, I don't know where I got the word penalty from. Inquisitor's Great Helm gets a 2 accuracy buff, putting its total crush at 10 from 8, and 2 strength bonus. This matches the equivalent slash bonus and strength bonus granted by the Oathplate Helm. So they're just bringing it up to par on Oathplate, on both the Hauberk and the Great Helm in terms of the accuracy and strength bonus. Notably not touching the defenses at all, because it is still slotted in as like a Zerker tier armor. Very strange on the Inquisitor changes, honestly. Very strange. I haven't run any calcs here, but I'm honestly just praying that this maths out to just being worse for Scython Crush. I hope just nuking the set bonus and then only giving it this light buff in accuracy and strength bonus, I imagine it will be worse for Scython Crush. I hope it puts full ink Mace ahead of Scython Crush DPS wise at Nightmare. I think that would be really cool. I think that would be interesting to see. But I just haven't run any calcs on this specifically, so I'm so curious as to how full ink actually works with the Scythe, with these changes versus before. It will be different, and I imagine it will be worse. And the Shaman Mask magic bonus increased to +2 from -6. Dang, those free-to-play Andes getting a serious buff here. That's significant, boys. Gear nerfs. Burning Claws. Attack cost increased from 35 from 30. This is a long time coming, honestly. Burning Claws were initially introduced as like a stepping stone weapon from, claws, from these tormented demons, if you couldn't afford claws, and then there's also like they're better on demons as well because they have Demon Bane, but like they just fit into like this niche so insanely well, and they're so competitive with claws in some places, and like the fact that you can spend 30 spec on these versus 50 on claws fits them into like the kind of like the chally positioning of like sometimes you don't have 50 spec. They were doing too good, to be honest. They were just like really significantly powerful for as cheap and as easily accessible as they were, to be honest. So I think this like reasonably minor nerf of just like 5% more special attack cost, you can no longer triple dump Burning Claws without, getting another tick of spec regen. So like, yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable, to be honest. Or surge potting. I think that's pretty reasonable. because things like Declaws and Voidwicker should be noticeably better in the places that they pop off, other than specifically demons. And I don't think there should have been that many places that Burning Claws were either competitive or even better. We have two other items in this category that overperform considerably in PvP scenarios, although there's a tough line to walk when it comes to keeping item behavior consistent across the entire game. We're not convinced that players using these items would appreciate seeing them weakened across the board solely to bring them healthier spot for PvP. Yeah, this is a whole blowpipe situation all over again. Our current proposals are listed below so that you can let us know what you reckon. If you prefer to see the consistency applied, then we have alternative suggestions. Okay. So in PvP, Adelat will be made to attack one tick slower. This is what they did with the blowpipe back in the day. This would pretty much cuck it entirely. And then in PvP, Soulflame Horn's special attack adjusts to provide 50% accuracy rather than 100%. The Soulflame Horn makes one iteming with weapons like the Ancient Mace exceptionally strong and doesn't consider any meaningful risk to a group utilizing this strategy. I didn't even know this was a thing, but yeah, I don't think anyone would be too opposed if they added specific PvP asterisks to how the Soulflame Horn works. I don't think people would care that much. And gear adjustment, Rosewood Blowpipes made to be able to use darts up to Rune. Nice. Adamant Cap was egregious. Who the hell would use this ever? To compensate the 10% bonus damage on its double shot would be removed. Why, man? Just leave it. Just leave it, man. New early game gear additions. New magic amulets. Okay, new magic necklace. It's an attachment to the Amulet of Magic that will shine with elemental spells. Each of these amulets provides +2 to its elemental max hit, along with 10 accuracy. And they all drop from different early game things in members' areas, different crystals. They're all 1 in 64 to make like the Amulet of Fire, Earth, Air, or Water. I think this is where elemental weaknesses should stay, boys. Early mid-game, flesh it out with like niche little things that you might want to get while standards is your only spellbook. Keep elemental weaknesses out of my end game. If elemental Virtus is 3 out of the 7 drop slots on the new drop table at the new raid, good god, I will be depressed. I feel like standard spells are just so boring. There's so many interesting things you can do with Lunar and Arceus that just like are lost when you're just on standards being, I'm fire, I cast fire, oh. But those are fun early game when you don't really have anything and it's like more powerful than a lot of the stuff you can get access to. So I think this is where this stuff should stay. And this is cool to see. I don't know how many people will actually engage with this, but it's cool. They will have a rune crafting requirement, likely in the 18 to 22 range, but players with 30 can combine all of them to make the elemental amulet to give the +2 to all elemental spells. That's pretty cool. A new range necklace. They want to add the Necklace of Fangs, a drop from Turoths that provides 1 range strength and 12 ranged accuracy. Nice little early mid-game range strength necklace. That's cute. I like it. Why not? And miscellaneous changes. Changes to Abyssal Creatures. Increase the Rune Essence pouch drop rates up to 1 in 8 from 1 in 42. Yeah, just make it less annoying to get all of your rune pouches, please. Like, it just, yeah. They lowered some of the defenses as well. Yeah, make it easier to kill the Abyssal Creatures, get your rune pouches. Early game run energy improvements. Upon completing a quest, full run energy restore and cure to any damage over time effects like poison. That's awesome. Add a 1 to 3 dose energy potion to a variety of early game loot tables at a fairly common rate. Cute. Buff energy potions to restore 15% per dose instead of 10. Nice. And adjust the herblore recipe so that they're made from an unfinished Guam instead of a Harlander. And basically nerf the level and nerf the XP that they give as well. So just add a use for early game Guams that is run energy related. Nice. And then some tiny stuff, quote unquote tiny stuff. Add a create last option to lecterns. Awesome. Make the Gommel's Lucky Penny charge saving effect an account unlock. Oh, so the Gommel's Penny is passive. That would be awesome. No longer need to choose between Blessing and Penny, and you actually get to keep the Penny when you're using a quiver. Incredible. Allow Seed Vault to respect locked inventory slots. Remove the timeout cooldown on making parties at Tob. Remove the Fight Caves timeout cooldown. Fantastic. Allow pets to follow you in content like Gauntlet, Fossil Islands, Underwater Area, various minigames, and respawn with you on death. That's so awesome, finally. And then they basically say they want our feedback. Oh, there's more? Jesus. Potential changes. Feedback desired. So these are things that might not be changes, but they're stuff that they just want, you know, thoughts on. Birdhouses. Okay, so birdhouses are disgusting, is what they're saying. They, from about level 30 onwards, they account for almost 80% of all hunter XP until herbivore makes its entrance at level 80. That's insane. So what do they want to do? Birdhouses are OP. Everyone loves birdhouses. No one really loves doing birdhouses. Everyone just loves what birdhouses do for them. I like doing my bird runs, though. They want to increase the nest output by 50% and make it more consistent, so you're not getting like the odd like 3 nest run. Incredible. And reduce the XP offered for checking them with a big reduction on the lower end and a small reduction on the top end. Yes. Nuke them. Leave Redwood pretty close to what they are. Maybe like 900 XP a birdhouse. Come on, that'd be fine. That'd be chill still. Okay, leave Redwood kind of chill. But like, yeah, nuke early birdhouses. Just make them more profitable. For sure. And this... Oh boy. This one I heard a little bit about. Nightmare. Note that the changes we discuss in this segment are intended as long-term and will rely on future content. These aren't changes that we're planning to make alongside the other things we've outlined so far. I've pre-read some of this stuff. They think that the Nightmare's drop table is too bloated. No way. It's almost like we said that when the boss came out. But now they want to get rid of 2 of the orbs. They say Nightmare feels like the boss where you go and you get a bunch of orbs and you maybe get Inquisitor. And they basically propose getting rid of 2 of the orbs, putting them like somewhere else, and making Harmonized Orb 3 times as common, and then only buffing Inquisitor drop rate by 10%. So they say all of this to be like, yeah, we want to make this to be like the boss where you get Inquisitor and don't get a whole bunch of orbs. But you're just going to get a whole bunch of the same orb that you can't really do anything with beyond the first one, and then you're only going to get 10% more Inquisitor. And I don't know if I'm crazy here, but like, I just feel like there's just some identity to like Nightmare at this point. It's existed for long enough. Those 3 orbs are like very cool and like they're rare and they're not super useful, but like if you spoon one on your Iron Man, it's really interesting. Like if you're just like an Iron Man with an early volatile orb, I'm sure there's some weird places you get value out of. If you get an Eldritch, I know there's some places you get value out of. And if you have a Harm, that's freaking cool. You can blast some stuff. So I feel like we're just taking away from Nightmare for no damn reason, and then to justify it, they're offering a 10% buff on how much Inquisitor they offer. This whole part loses me. It fully loses me. I don't understand. And they even talk about adding or changing the Harm Orb, or like changing the orbs in general to just be 1 orb, and then you like charge it with boss essence from another boss from another part of Gielinor. Like, I don't know what we're doing here at this point. I feel like we're just like super overcooking stuff that has been cooked for like 5 years. Make some balances, make some adjustments, but like, what are we going on here on this latter end, you know? With raid reward re-rolling, and then like this weird Nightmare like redistribution. This is confusing me. I hope they don't get too much good feedback on this stuff, because to me, like, this is honestly kind of nuts. But I think most of the stuff in here is pretty good. You guys heard my opinions on all this stuff. The chambers hypothetical changes, you're off the bad crack. You're not on the good crack. You're not coming up with the nice hallucinations. You're having bad dreams. You're having bad trips, and now we're adding raid reward re-rolling. Get off the bad crack, Jagex, please. Hopefully we don't go, too much further down this route of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse fictional private server ass thought processes when it comes to handling design space and access to items, and how much we need access to every single item in the game. Either way, that has been my piece. That has been the overall news in the summer sweep up. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something here today. Hope you don't hate me too much by the end of this. Hope you don't think I'm too much of an opinionated asshole. But I appreciate you all very, very much. Comment down below what you think, what we want to talk about. There's going to be a lot of discussion on this one, so just let it rip down below, boys. We'll follow up. Big shout out to the channel members, Y and Sev, my freaking goats. I appreciate you so damn much. I am working on a paint end screen to hook up the channel members, but I love paint, so I gotta chef up something. So it's in the works, but I'll see you in the next one, boys. Thank you for watching. Summer sweep up. Let's see the polls. Let's see the polls.